The 1867 Taiwan Formosa expedition. This is Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson sent this expedition against the Paiwan people. This is the indigenous Taiwanese tribe. Why would you do this? This makes no sense. The problem with Vietnam was that the Vietnamese people, they loved their country. They loved the economic system, which was going to feed them. So you're fighting a people's war. And a lot of times, America has failed. Why? Because we're going against a people's war. We should learn from our mistakes. We got a 95% record. The U.S. Marines and the Navy is going to land in South Taiwan because there was a rover incident. Some vessel ship had shipwrecked, and then when they swam to shore, the Paiwan natives killed them all. Well, they're poor, and you're on their soil. And it's a terrible incident. Even China was sitting there saying, we can't, we don't even control those people. We don't even know, we can't do anything about the Paiwan people. And so the U.S. Marines and the Navy landed in South Taiwan, and the Paiwan people, they engaged in guerrilla warfare, ambushing, skirmishing, disengaging, and then retreating. Ambushing, skirmishing, disengaging, and then retreating. The Marine commander killed. Both sides retreated. Mackenzie, one killed. So there's a guy named Mackenzie. Once he killed it, then both sides retreated and the war was over. So not the longest war in the world, but it took like months to get it off the ground. It's a big expedition. You get all those men. You had 181 U.S. soldiers versus 22 is what I hear. 22 Paiwan people? There had to have been more than 22. I don't know. Chief Takatak was the leader of the Paiwans. Good old Chief Takatak. I found a baby deer, and I named it Chief Takatak. It's got a little red sash around its neck. Chief Takatak. The rover crashed just outside of Formosa, Taiwan. 24 crews swam to the shore. They were killed by the Paiwan people. The Queen, Q-I-N-G, the Queen. How do you pronounce it? The Chinese dynasty, the Chinese government said that the attack was by warriors of a village who didn't respect the Chinese laws. And so they sent a punitive addition. The Marines did. Later on, China will too. But you got a guy named Bell with the Wyoming and Hartford from Shanghai to Taiwan. A guy named Bell in the operations, the outfits, I think Hartford and Wyoming. The Wyoming crew and the Hartford crew. They shipped out from Shanghai and they went to Taiwan. Now Taiwan is still, Formosa is still a disputed territory today. We might go to war with China over Taiwan, just like we're going to war maybe with Russia. Well, I mean, we're kind of having a proxy war with Russia and Ukraine. Formosa. Nixon went on and on about Formosa. So 181 officers, sailors, Marines land. This is 1867, 2 years after the Civil War. The Taiwan tropical island. So it's humid. It's humid and it's hot. And the Marines and the Navy and the officers had these heavy uniforms. And then the Paiwans, they had muskets. So they had guns. They had muskets and spears. And they had faces painted colorful. There was 3 ambushes by the Paiwans, which repelled the Americans charging. 3 ambushes. Then the Americans charged, and then they backed up. This happened 3 times. And on the 3rd time, you're going to have the Mackenzie. Basically, that's it. He's the only one that dies, and then the Americans give up. Why are we here? What is the point of this? 6 hours of marching. The men were delirious. They passed out from the heat. Their commander, Mackenzie, just got killed. They're trying to kill 22, and it's turning out to be a real tough ordeal. Japan and China later on are going to attack the Paiwan. And then later on, there's going to be a massacre, and they're going to, celebrate it. Some sort of memorandum of understanding, some sort of negotiated deal. Today, or 2014 at least, there's 96,334 Paiwan people. So The Paiwan people are still strong. Almost 100,000 Paiwan people. And on the island of Taiwan, they represent 18% of the indigenous natives, which means that they're the second largest group of indigenous natives. So they would be like the Cherokee or the Apache. Who's the biggest Native Americans in America? So there you go. That's the details for the short-lived, but the failure. We failed. We were supposed to go there. We were supposed to conquer them. I think massacre them or something. They killed one of our guys, and then we just retreated, and then that was it. That was the end of the 1867 Taiwan Formosa expedition. So what can we learn from this? Should we have gone in like gangbusters and just kind of shot them all up? I guess to a hostile people, but even then, I don't, like the Prussians. Could you do that to the Prussians? Because I feel like in Vietnam, people are sitting there saying 4 million were killed, but we just have to have the will and the resolve. Now, if you're just trying to kill a bunch of people and take their land, well, that's, good for the power that's stealing land for that time period, for that moment. But let's say you're China or Russia, or you're any other nation on the planet, and you just saw America go in and just wipe out 4 million Vietnamese. They said it wasn't good enough. What was the population of Vietnam? Well, I mean, what are we talking? We're talking about 25 million or something? So you're going to go in there, wipe out 25 million people, and then expect nobody in the world to be like, man, those Americans are on some dumb shit. I think it's a suicide mission at this point. If we saw, pick a country, Germany, France, UK, United Kingdom, Ireland. Okay, let's say Ireland goes to Iceland and just wipes everybody out of Iceland. And then they say Iceland is ours. Ireland is now Iceland. Are we going to just sit back and be like, well, they won the war fair and square. What were they even warring about? Well, they wanted their land, and then they want to keep their land, so... No, that's bullshit. What we should do as Americans, as the policemen of the world, invade Ireland. What? You're on some dumb shit, motherfuckers. You're going around genociding other peoples in order to steal their land. Iceland was its own country, its own nation. It had its own government and laws and society and culture. And they liked their nation. They liked their country. So to see Ireland go into Iceland and wipe out everybody just to take another island, the rest of the world should rightfully attack Ireland because they're on some stupid shit. They're on some imperialist, genocidal bullshit. It's not a good policy. It's a suicidal policy. You want to go into another nation and wipe everybody out? That's what Napoleon said about Haiti. Kill everybody and then start importing brand new Africans in. I don't know, the war seems lost. What if we just wipe them all out and then import brand new slaves? Let's just start all over. The fact that Leclerc even presumed that was something to... So anyways, congratulations to Chief Takatak. Only 22 Paiwanese warriors was able to repel 181 Marines. And you know what? I'll say good on the Marines for once one of them got killed. They're kind of like, you know what? I'm hot. I'm human. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know these people. It doesn't make any sense. This isn't helping my country, I don't think. And then even though there was 3 ambushes, so the Americans, okay, they're marching through the forest, mountains. And then they get ambushed, so they're getting shot at from up above, and then the Americans take cover. And the Americans charge, and then it backs them up a little bit. And then they do another ambush. And then they do another ambush like a day or two later. 22 versus 181. That reminds me of the American Revolution. George Washington, all you had to do is just wait it out. How long are these Americans going to stay? So we'll just put the 22 warriors out there, shoot at them from all over the place, and then they'll just get tired and it's hot and humid, delirious, and then they'll just leave. George Washington lost all of his battles. He won only a handful, but he won the war. Why? Because the British was an island over there, and that island was trying to oppress us. So all George Washington had to do is just wait it out. Those soldiers are going to need gunpowder and food and water and provisions and resources. The longer you wait it out, the more money they spent, the more time goes by, the more they're like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then he won it with a decisive battle at Yorktown. So not only did he kind of do what Chief Takatak did, then he came back to the main boat and blew up the boat. So if you can understand the revolution and understanding that this is our country and we don't want to give it to somebody else, then we should be able to understand that about Vietnam, Formosa, the Northwest Territory, the Shawnee, St. Clair's defeat, St. Hamar's defeat.